what are some of the biggest, I guess, challenges you faced becoming a business owner?
Friends and family, by far. Like you were saying, you had family that was supportive, family that wasn't.
Yeah.
And then also it changes who you are as a person in general, like your responsibilities, your interests, what you're into. So I came from a very large friend group who, as I was younger, we grew up, I had always thought like, these are going to be my friends forever, right?
Yeah.
But I quickly learned that the circle that I was in was holding me back also. It was like I was trying to pull people with me to my level.
But they didn't want to be at that level.
They didn't want to be at that level. They didn't want to play that game.
They wanted the rewards of being at that level, but didn't want to work for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's get into it. This one's going to be a little bit about business, more of the business side of things to an extent. Obviously, you guys know we kind of just twirl every which way in life, but the concepts for business today. So you want to dive into it, Brad?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So for you, what inspired you to start your own business? I know we somewhat kind of talked about it outside of like the corporate and this and that, right? What kind of made us start this? But ideally, like, what made you want to become a business owner?
Well, I've been doing this for a while. Like 10 years, 12 years. So originally what it was seeing how hard my parents worked, but worked for someone else and they only got a portion of those fruits, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, they did great and they have a nice life and nice retirement from it. But it kind of goes back to the last episode where I wish my parents were around more, right?
Yeah.
So the whole idea of starting a business was, okay, I'll eventually be able to have the freedom to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, right?
Right.
And having kids changes that perspective drastically where you want to give them everything, including your time. And so starting a business, you have that opportunity. It's not immediate, obviously, as we know. I've been doing this for 12 years, and so there's been ins and outs of it.
Right. You've had it, not had it, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah, I've had businesses, lost businesses. That's the cool thing too about networking with other business owners is you find out your failures or your wins, no matter the failure, because it teaches you something not to do again the next time, right?
Right. Well, you got like Donald Trump and a lot of billionaires that have filed bankruptcy
right.
over and over again and somehow have made it out.
Well, and every successful business owner will talk about their failures.
Yeah.
And so I hold them close to my heart, but it's so that I don't forget, right? So that you remember the mistakes you made so that as you move forward, it's like, okay, don't do this again. And we've taken it a bit further with this new business as like going out and getting an accounting coach, a business coach, a marketing coach.
Taking a certain path.
I love it. Yeah. So really, I mean, starting in the field of entrepreneurship or whatever the term is people use these days, it's really for personal and financial freedom, right? Changing that generational aspect of it. And then also on the other side, like Ty was saying, showing your kids a different way,
right?
Showing them that they don't just have to work, they could start their own thing. And then also showing them it's not easy. Because there is this misconception that you own a business, you're rich, or you own a business, you could do what you want. And I'm still looking for both of those.
Yeah. Where are those at? I want the rich part.
Yeah. But that's really what it was. For you, I mean, we've always talked about owning a business together, but what was the reason you wanted to?
One, financial freedom. And for as long as I can remember, like I wanted to be my own boss. Like I want, even though the funny misconception is even though you're a boss, you still answer to everybody. Like you still have a boss. We work
for our employees.
We work for our employees, but we also work for the customer. At that moment, they are our boss because whatever they want, they're going to pay us for it. So at that moment, we're their employee, right? In a sense. But for me, it was my family aren't owners of anything. They've all worked a 9 to 5. They all work for someone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those people make the world go around. You know what I mean? Without employees, you don't have a business. You know what I mean? So like those people, those are honest, good jobs, and you need them for America to work, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that because I did really well as an employee too, you know? But at the end of the day, for me, it was like, I wanted to do something to show my kids like, hey, we don't just need to be slaves to the system. We could go out, we could start our own thing. Like we could reach as far as we want to reach with it, right? That's my biggest thing is I want my kids to see that, hey, if you want to do something, take the risk and go chase it. You know what I mean? It's possible. Even if you fell at it, at least you tried. Because I was just talking about it. It's like people, my family, I have some family that was very supportive. I have some family that are like, you're an idiot. Like, why would you go start your business? You were making good money. You have 3 kids. You have bills. Why are you going to go start your own business? But what was I going to say? I spaced it, but my worst, like the worst thing that could happen to me is the best thing that's happening to them, right? So if this fails, I go back for working for somebody, right? Whether they're already doing that. So my bad is their good, you know? So I'm like, if I fail, I'm a plumber. I'll go plumb anywhere. You know, it doesn't really matter, but I want my kids to be able to be like, Dad worked, you know, he went and chased this and he tried, you know, he worked his tail off to make something big. Whether it works or not, at least we took the risk, right? But yeah, that's my thing.
And I've done that. I've gone back to work for people after owning my own business.
Yeah.
Which is hard, but it's also humbling in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of reminds you full circle of where you're at.
Where
and again, one of those lessons of like, okay, let's not do this again.
But with you, right? You went and you had the multi-million-dollar company. You did really well. You had the Maserati. You had the bougie stuff. And at that moment in life, you were materialistic. You were very like, oh, I got the money. I'm going to go spend it. It didn't work out, but it humbled you for the next go around. When you started making money again, you're like, yeah, I got it, but I don't need all these things. I don't need it, yeah. I thought they were going to make me happy. And that was a lesson for you, right? You're like, I thought it was going to make me happy. Sure, it was cool in the moment, but now in life, you're like, that's not what I need. So it humbled you. So the next time you come across that money, you're like, all right, now I could play it smarter. It was a life lesson, you know? And I think that's what a lot of people go through. You see a lot of sport athletes go from having all this money to like, once they retire, nothing. Man, they got nothing to show for it. You know, they didn't invest it. They didn't do nothing with it. But you do have some players that like came into the game smart. They're still living with mom, still driving a Corolla, and they're multimillionaires, but they're just like, I don't need the materialistic stuff to be happy in life. So I feel like,
because all it is, you're just trying to impress someone else, and
yeah,
what do you actually get out of that?
Yeah, even if it made you happy, like me, like okay, if I came across money, right, it would be I would get what I want, you know, the truck, the trailer, and the side by sides, because I like outdoor motorsports. So it's like, is it materialistic? Sure, but like that's honestly like my happiness. I enjoy that, but like I don't need the Louis Vuitton, you know, I don't need all that bougie stuff. I'm not saying you might not see me out there with it one day, but I'm just saying I don't need it, yeah. You know. But I mean, I might rock it. But like, they got purses for girls that are like 30 bands, and you know, I'm like, crazy. For a bag, like, bro, it costs them $50 to make it. You know what I mean? You're spending 30 bands on a name. But yeah, that's my thing. I don't think I'll ever get to that point, like where it's excessive spending, right, over stupid things. Yeah. Go out to dinner and drop 20,000 for the heck of it. But outside of that, what you doing a couple businesses, right? You've done a couple. What are some of the, like, it could be with this one, it could be with the other one. It's just stories like for people to kind of grasp, you know, who are wanting to start a business or anything like that. What are some of like the initial challenges you face starting up businesses, or even long-term what are some of the biggest, I guess, challenges you face becoming a business owner? Friends
and family. By far, like you were saying, you had family that was supportive, family that wasn't.
Yeah.
And then also it changes who you are as a person in general, like your responsibilities, your interests, what you're into. So I came from a very large friend group who, as I was younger, we grew up, I had always thought like, these are going to be my friends forever, right?
Yeah.
But I quickly learned that the circle that I was in was holding me back also. It was like I was trying to pull people with me to my level,
but they didn't want to be at that level.
They didn't want to be at that level. They didn't want to play that game.
They wanted the rewards of being at that level, but didn't want to work for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did that a couple times in business where I just try to bring people with me. I think that's the biggest challenge, because if you don't change your circle, then you're never going to change for yourself.
Yeah.
So your business will only grow so far because you're going to keep being held back. And this is said all over the internet with business all the time. The change your circle, change your life thing.
You are who you surround yourself with.
I say it all the time. I think we talk about it all the time. And my circles have changed drastically since I got into business myself at 24. I'm 37 now. The circles I had at 24, I would never hang out with today, right?
Yeah.
And the circles I hang out with today, they would have never hung out with me at 24.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's just it's a go, fail, keep going kind of mentality. And there's ways around it. You could spend time in the room with the right people, pay for someone's time to learn from them.
Yeah.
Which is what we're doing with our business coaches. Because again, that was a lesson learned. I had this idea at 24 that I know everything I'm going to take on the world.
Yeah.
There's just a lot you don't know, especially in the business aspect. And unless you have people like that surrounded around you, people you could bounce things off of, people you could talk about your, I don't want to say issues, but your problems in business that you're facing.
And they'll understand it.
They'll understand it and they'll give you good advice. So the other thing I love when I see these entrepreneurs online talking about it is don't ask for advice from someone that isn't in that same position, right? Or that would never be in that same position, or someone that's not doing it, because they're going to give you some half-ass answer they saw online.
Because they don't see the dream either. You know what I mean?
No.
Like no one sees the big picture, because that's like what's hard, I guess.
The vision.
Yeah, that's what's hard for me is like a lot of like some of my old friends and stuff like that, like they don't have that vision and they're just like, I don't know, bro, like figure it out. And because they can't see that far and they don't want to go chase that, you know, those kinds of dreams. They're cool with the 9 to 5. Like, and I always say like, that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's like you say, we got to surround ourselves with the people that want to be in that position or are already there. Like, hey, how can we get in with you? You know, that's the best way. Like, and that's like what service has helped me is like, I've met with so many different business owners just by being a service plumber. And then we could dive into questions with them. Like I just did a water main for a guy and he was a financial advisor. He's like, let me know if you need any help. Like I could, you know, you could be a $10 million company. You give me 6 months. I can make you more profitable at that same $10 million than you are right now. Just by changing some policies and procedures, changing where we spend our money at, and just going a smarter route with it. So it's like who you surround yourself with is going to help you there, because like one of your old friends that you got drunk with in high school and partied all the time with, he's going to be like, I don't know how to help you, bro.
Yeah.
Try to make it more, you know, sell more.
And it just comes down to, I think the biggest piece of advice, and people say, like, they'll say this online, but I don't think people understand it. They'll say, know your numbers, know your financials, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody, at least in the business world, has QuickBooks or some type of accountant. But unless you truly understand what the different numbers mean on a page, it's impossible to make a decision for your business without it. In the past, I operated emotionally. Today, we operate off of financials. It's the only way to operate. Mm-hmm. But in there, like you're saying, we're able to make decisions to change. Can we change this to make more money? Can we take away this to keep the same money?
Yeah.
Are these employees dragging us down? Is this marketing dragging us down?
And that's what we're doing a lot of. Like we just did another, what did we change to? I forget, but we took away one of the marketing that we were doing. A
bunch of it, because we were just throwing money.
And it was a couple $1,000s, but we seen that this one was working really well. So it's like, all right, we're going to take half of this, dive it back into here and let this keep continuing to flourish, you know, because it's doing well for us. But yeah, no, running off of financials is smart, because run off of emotional, like you're going to sink this business. But that's the biggest thing is ego, right? And, and humbling yourself. I think that's where it's great for you, where you kind of went through that. And that's the great thing with, like for me, I don't really feel like I've had an ego growing up. Like I'm one to ask for help. Like if I don't understand it, I want the help. But it's nice in this partnership that we have that one, you've been there, you've had it, you lost it, and you're back, and you've done it a couple of times where you've done really well. Even with your guys' last ammo business, you guys did really well. It was just the way things worked that it kind of you guys got the shit end of the stick in a sense, right?
Again, selling a business without the knowledge of selling a business. So if we would have had that experience around or knew what direction to go, then it would have guided us in a much different way.
Right, because the business was it was just like you got face cancer or skin cancer, right, at the time, and
face cancer,
third eyeball just coming out, but you got skin cancer, so like you were ready to step away, but the business was doing well, and you tried selling it, and you guys just had a bad deal break.
Yeah, it was
sideways.
It was a bad sale.
I know. I don't know how much you talk about all that, but obviously it's a lesson learned, right? But you did well, and you were humble through that entire experience too, though, based off of your past companies. But
I had to put my tail between my legs and go back to work for someone, because that, again, having a family, it doesn't. My wants, my cares, my needs really take second to my family. Yeah. My family comes first.
Yeah, I don't even think it's second. I think it's like 10th. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
There's so many other things, but yeah, you know.
I took a warehouse job.
Yeah.
Like just so we had income consistently coming in, because how would that be fair to my daughters if I didn't take that step, right? And in the past, when I was young, I had made the choice of, okay, instead of going to work for someone, I'm just going to start another business, which thankfully that worked out well enough to support my family, but it wasn't well enough to sustain continuously. And so I really think if you can be humble and just understand that you don't know everything, we're going to keep going through this and we're still not going to know anything.
No.
Right? Or know everything.
But it's asking for the help.
Mm-hmm. And having those people around that do know. And then also being open about where you're at so that the people around you can help you in those situations.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Where, like I said, like that's the nice thing with us is like, you've been there and I'm not afraid for help. And so it's like me and you both, like that's where we're so like where we see eye to eye. It's like we want to drive, we want to do big things, because partnerships usually don't work. There's a high percentage that partnerships just fail and crash, you know, because of different visions. And that was my biggest thing, like going into this was I'll only go into a partnership with someone that has the same vision as me, right? And that's the nice thing with us. It's very like, you're like, hey, I think we should do this. It's like, run with it, bro. Like, I'm all for it. Like, that makes sense. Like,
this is where we're going.
Yeah, we'll bounce ideas off of each other, and like, that makes sense. Or likewise for me, if I'm like, hey, bro, I think we should do this, and for X, Y, and Z, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it, you know? And then if it doesn't make sense, we both have that conversation. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess I didn't see that side. Let's not do that, you know? But that's where it works very well, because it's like, me and you want the same end goal. So it's like, I think a partnership only works in that way. Like, I had a buddy hit me up and was like, hey, man, I know you're in a partnership. I got offered a partnership for a plumbing business. And he's like, it sounds like a good deal. So I ran him through everything, and he don't really know the guy. He goes to church with the guy, and that's about as much as he knows from him. I'm like, dude, you got a lot of work to do. Like, we knew each other for 3 years, 4 years prior or whatever. But I'm like, don't hop into a business you don't know the guy, because like, what's the exit goal look like for you? What's the percentage? What's all of the decision making? Like, there's so much that goes into it. Does he have the same vision? Like, he's retired. Like, there was so many like red flags and questions that I'm like, verify those things, because like, if I was you, I wouldn't do it. And I'm in a partnership, but that one doesn't make sense, you know? But like, I guess like we said, ego is the biggest thing. Humbling yourself, asking for the advice, and don't. Most trade people or just people in general can always do the work, but owning the business is the hard part. Like, I'm not a tax guy. Like, I'm not that type of guy, but we bring the people on that are,
that
you know,
yeah.
Like, hey, spend the money and get the right people in place. Yeah, it sucks spending the money, but it's better than being sued at the end of the year because, you know, you didn't pay the IRS or you didn't do the right payroll
for something
taxes.
silly that could have been prevented.
Yeah, by paying the people that actually went to school for this. Like, we could do the work all day and set up the pricing and all that good stuff, but actually taking the advice from professionals.
Or even like we're going through this now, a succession plan, right?
Yeah.
We know where our succession plan is between either selling the business or handing the business down, but how do we get there? So it's all of us could be on the same page of what we want, but unless it's set up properly and you do things properly, it doesn't really matter. Same thing with buy-sell agreements. I mean, we have a partner, he's up there in age. He doesn't want to work forever. And so what's our plan there? What if something happens there?
Yeah.
But I mean, same thing.
I don't know. Michael might work forever, but yeah.
He might. He's healthier than all of us.
But yeah, you're in your 30s. I'm in my 20s, and he's in his 60s. Like, realistically, like, if I was him, I'd be retiring soon. You know what I mean? In his shoes, I'd be retiring soon. So yeah, what's it look like? You know, what's that end goal for him look like?
Or unfairly, if you die or I die, then how does that work, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. So it's like you want to have that to protect yourself in those partnerships. Even if you're a single business owner, like you still like having a trust in place to making sure your family's taken care of, or whatever you want to have happen with that business. If something bad were to happen to you, it's taken care of. So there's a lot of footsteps to make sure things are secured, where people fail to realize that and just kind of like, I'll live forever. Like,
or
I'll do
more
what
importantly, and this is another thing I think people forget to realize and understand. We say we work for our employees. If something happens in this situation, what about those 7 families that we care for? Because it's not 7 employees, it's 7 families.
Yeah.
7 people have kids, 7 people have aunts, uncles, everything else, right? They have houses, they have bills. What happens to them?
Yeah.
That's really where my drive comes into play more than anything is I know I'm going to take care of myself, but I have 7 other families that we are also taking care of.
That's the scariest part of this, is like the families you have to take care of, you know? Because like if you're a owner that actually cares, like, you know, these guys, you know, their families and stuff, and you're like, man, I don't want to see her, you know, not eat, you know, her dad have to figure out how to go get another job overnight. So yeah, but I mean, I guess diving out of that, let's get into a little bit about what were the steps you had to take to secure like the first clients and this, right? Ooh. Ours is like marketing and stuff like that, but like, let's get into like how did we snag our first client? This
is such a good question, because the last company I worked for, I was their, I went through a lot of different positions there, but one of the things I did not do was, okay, how do we secure clients, right? Like that was handled by people they had. So it was an unknown. I just knew we could do it. I had done it before in other ways, but actually, how do I get the phone to ring, right? And so our process was, we started in June, but we didn't take our first call till August, partially because of the license process and how Doppel works. And it's like any government agency, it's slow.
Yeah.
It's slow. So we started out early with our marketing before we even were able to take a call. And we would push it out there that, hey, you can, we're starting on this date. Remember us. And I think we were pushing out 3 posts a day. We had advertisements going. Our Google profile was up. If anyone called, we'd have to decline them, try to push them to, whenever our start date was going to be, which ended up being like August 8th, I think, August 6th, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But really it was getting our name out there before starting. And I think this is where a lot of businesses, they're like, okay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to post it online, post it on social media, and people are going to call.
So for the best.
Yeah. And that's how it works. But there's a lot of vehicles and avenues out there. Again, knowing the right people, talking to the right people, asking their advice, how they would go about it. This is where it takes a lot of effort on the business owner's part to put their ego aside.
Yeah.
And look at what works versus what doesn't. Because we came into this business with a lot of ideas, and they're ever changing. But mostly just putting ourselves out there, not being afraid to. And again, it comes down to I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of your family. You're taking care of mine. It doesn't matter what I think, feel, do, say. The only thing that really matters is how the outcome is and how I'm going to achieve that outcome. If it's putting myself out there and embarrassing myself to get people in, I'll do it all day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. I know you will too.
Hey, don't make me go shake it out there. You know what I mean? I'll spin a sign all day. You know, like, let's go. But that's really what it was. Like we even like how we started it was me and you put all our money into it. Both of our life savings, like just dumped our money into starting this up. You even had a buddy help out a little bit.
Thank you, Bo.
Old mentor. So even it was like what, $5,000 or something like that. Like that's a lot. You know what I mean? For us, that was a lot at the time. Like that helped us get.
That was everything, really.
Yeah, like that helped just streamline us, in a way where it's like we ordered all our door flyers, and me and you walked neighborhood after neighborhood hanging door flyers to get our name out there. Anything that we could, like we just wanted
posting on Facebook ourselves every day.
Yeah.
Posting on Instagram every day.
And we're a year into this, right? Just with this business, we've done fairly well for ourselves, almost cleared about $1 million our first year in revenue. So did we see any of it? No, because it went back in. You know what I mean? We didn't see the $1 million. It's right back into the company. But the company did well for a first year company. You don't see a lot of that, at least here in Southern Utah. You don't see a lot of companies that are just starting out and are doing those numbers right away. But we didn't really have a choice. And we kind of knew what had to happen. Obviously, like dialing that in better, we could do a lot better with, but in the sense of like, we knew how we needed to get out there, and all we needed was a couple jobs. We bring in more money, boom. And like, that's all, because we know what needs to happen, but we need money. So we're like, we keep throwing it out every time. I mean, now look at us. We're over here with Blue 4 Media, we got a podcast going, so it's like we have our media team that helps us out over here and that are rock stars, and they also have Xander, and what's his wife's name? Bentley? I always want to call her Bailey, but it's Bentley, right? Yeah. Sorry, Bentley. Forgive me. But, they show up, and they're all a part of this team as well, and show up and do content for us to help us with our socials now, with dialing in the algorithm. So it's like, we're in a good place now. It's like, it costs us money, but it's a great investment. That's part of it. It's like, at the end of the day, the way I see it is it's an investment for us. Like, these guys are the professionals. Like, they set us up for success and push out our content for us, and really all we got to do is show up here on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, this is beautiful, but it took time, it took time for us to get here, but it's been doing well for us. All the short clips we get, our page is getting 8,000, 10,000, 16,000 views. I'm just like, dude, where were all these? Is like, 6 months
Where
ago.
was this last June?
Yeah. And now look,
when we thought we were putting out good content.
But again, hiring the people that know what to do, right? Like Blue 4 Media Group, this is what they specialize in. We don't. We're the plumbers. We'll go plumb. And we just like, they guide us in the right direction and help us out. And it's been such a good thing for us. So
this is where a lot of business owners or people that want to own businesses fail. They have that, it's set into like failure to launch or mental masturbation, because they'll just sit there and they'll try to perfect it, or they'll compare, right? Comparison's the thief of time, or the thief.
Yeah.
And really you just have to get started, because a year ago we couldn't have done this, but we also couldn't have done this if we didn't just start a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of it too comes down to like, okay, we still could have just been like, no, we don't want to do this. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like our egos be like, oh, we're doing fine. We could do all the social media groups. We could do all this and that. And I mean, really, we were doing them. We thought we were doing great, but it looked like we were doing good, but they take over and we see such a huge shift and we're like, oh, damn, maybe we're missing on things, because we just don't have enough time to do the research. That's a whole nother job in itself, to research how, social medias actually work on the back end of things, how to get what time to post to get most views and most reach and this and that. We don't know any of that. We think we do, but we don't. So it's a good thing that just trust in the right teams to take care of us, and spend the money. Like I said, it's like plumbing. Changing out your water heater before it leaks is an investment, but but that investment saved you 50,000. You know what I mean? This investment, coming on with this crew and doing the podcast, hopefully saves us so much time that we're bearing into social media and all of our content, so where they could just handle it, And so
no, it is, and every aspect of the business should be looked at it this way. We had that opportunity to go down to Profit Day with Certain Path, and they had showed us a new perspective on the business side of it. Again, we were doing okay. We had the mentors around us to ask questions, and we would make the changes where needed, but this kind of speeds it up. And I mean, how many businesses there did we meet or hear about that have been doing this for 5 to 10 years? They're maybe capping between 500K to $1 million, right? But mistakes they were making continuously is what kept them there.
Yeah.
And it was rare and refreshing for our coaches to see such a young business come into it, because we were able to get everything started really at the beginning. A year is such a young business.
Oh, that's new.
But the leaps and bounds we will take over the next year will push us so much further ahead of our competition. It won't even be unrecognizable.
Well, it's like that. Those people are on their last, like, that's
they're
their last
there like
at-bat.
A plea for help. Like when I went to the executive perspective with them in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, there were businesses there literally like did not have $30 to spend for lunches or meals or the hotels that they needed to stay in, but they were just grasping and trying to find a way to make what they were doing work, which is admirable in itself. I mean, that's a huge ego shot for anybody, especially a business owner, to come in and say, hey, I just can't do this. I need help. Right?
They're down on their knees. You know, that's the last little bit for them, down on their knees, you know, asking for help. But that's what we saw, you know, and thankfully Moffett helped guide us in the right direction. Moffett out of Orange County, Anaheim area. They were able to help guide us in the direction of like, hey, hit these people up and see if they can't help you. Yeah.
But that only came about because we were willing to ask for help from them.
Yeah.
And it started such a cool relationship. We don't know anybody there. Like, we all found each other on social media, and it came from us asking questions through Messenger about the business. I mean, they've been open since like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
And then the son took over. And they were in a similar spot when the son took over. He had an employee actually tell him, if you don't do this, then I will not be working for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And now they're one of the most successful businesses in Southern California.
Yeah, they're massive. They win best of, you know, Orange County over and over again, but they're amazing. You know, they're a great company, and they have a great motto and how they run too. So it's looking up to they're not our competition. Obviously, they're in California, but they like, even around here, like your competitors, like, or people in your trade, like, look up to them, you know, go ask for the help. We always talk about the brotherhood, you know, building a brotherhood in this trade. And it comes from that, like, be willing to ask for that help. And the people that are successful, ask them, how did you get here? How can I get there? You know, and Moffett has been an open book for us. You know, we keep trying to dial in a day to go hang out with them and stuff like that. But, setting us up in the right path, right? Like how we went there, for profit days and all that good stuff. Like, yeah, we're year one, and they tripped out that they're like, man, you guys did $1 million your first year. Like, most companies don't do that their first year. Why are you guys here? Because we want to be perfect. Like, we want to get this perfect. We don't want to come back in 20 years and be like, yeah, we did $5 million a year, but we had nothing to show for it. We spent $8 million a year. So, you know what I mean? What's it worth if I made 5, you know? So it's just taking that leap, asking for help, so we're not wasting time. Like, that's the biggest thing. We don't want to waste time.
And you'll find out quick, because you'll start to go to people and you'll learn really fast who's on your side and who isn't on your side. We've done this battle the last year with different companies, like the brotherhood, if you will.
Yep.
And you'll find out very fast who's willing to help and who isn't. Whether it's through actions or words, you'll know quickly. And as soon as you know, it's time to move on and find that next one.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's kind of dive into, because I keep going off on that, but how do you manage your team and ensure they are motivated? As in, like, I know we're kind of all over the place, right, with starting this business, but how do you feel that maybe we keep our team motivated and staying with us? Because it's hard. Like, we are a startup business, right? We've been doing this a year and it's going well, but what do you feel keeps these guys here willing to work for us day in and day out, whether they see us or not?
Well, I think it's a little bit different for me on two fronts, because I spend more time in the office. You guys spend more time in the field. And I know the questions come about of, well, why isn't he out here? Why doesn't he have a shovel? Even though I'll show up and do it, there's just days that it doesn't make sense for me to.
Never makes sense for you to show up with a shovel, but there's days you all hands on deck, but it's not your job. It is, but it is.
But one, I'm willing to, right? Yeah. I'm willing to go in the trenches with the guys and do whatever they need me to do. You see, when I'm on a job site, I am not the expert on a job site. So tell me what to do and I'll do it. You guys are my boss in that situation. And it's one, having that humble approach of, okay, what do you guys need, versus me trying to come in and saying, this is what you guys need to do, which would be absolutely insane. But also on the back end, like, my job of making sure people are calling and making sure our guys are working is probably the most important thing to me. And you guys, and my way of showing it is, you'll see me on Facebook, Instagram, Yelp, every single place possible, trying to capture new people.
Yeah.
Personally and on the business side.
Well, I think that keeps guys motivated too, is like, you're not supposed to be in the field. You know what I mean? But we are a small company. So it's like, when it's one of those days, it's all hands on deck. Half the team's in Cedar, and we got just me in St. George. Like the other day, I was like, dude, I'm digging a water main and by myself for the second one this week. Like,
in 109-degree weather.
Yeah. I'm like, this is the second time this week I've had to dig a hole alone. Like, bro, I need help. I'm burnt. And you're like, I'm there. I'll move some stuff around. I'll come help you, you know? But that helps the guys too be like, keeps them motivated. Like, man, the bosses are in the trenches. You know what I mean? Like, they're not begging for help. They're in the trenches making it happen. These last 3 days, we've had calls at 8 p.m. come in. And, one of the guys was like, oh, like, I'll come in. I'll take that on call. No, bro, stay home. Like, I got it. You know what I mean? Even though I'm burnt out, it's like, you guys have been busting your toe every day. Let me take this on call for you so you don't have to worry about it. Like, I think that helps motivate the team of knowing, like, hey, our bosses are willing to go that extra mile for us. And even though technically they don't have to, in a small business, you kind of more so do. But even at the same time, like, you have employees for that reason. That's the whole purpose of building a business is you are a boss at that point and you build a team to take these, all those like stresses of taking on call. But it's like, we're willing to hop out there and go make it happen. No, bro, enjoy your family, enjoy dinner. I'm going to go run this call.
First to show, last to leave.
Yeah. And
every time.
That's a leader, not a boss. You know what I mean? There's a difference between being a leader and being a boss. So that's the one.
It's part of our culture. Because I want guys to take the same approach, right?
Yeah.
Like eventually that will flopside. We'll have enough people to manage all those things so we don't have to. But in the beginning, especially with the small team, even though it's not that small, it's still a small team. I think without it, they'll lose their way. They'll become complacent. They'll start, they'll take days off. They'll push things to the side, instead of showing up. And that's right, showing them first what to do versus telling them what to do.
And it's like I say, like with this, it's weird because you work to obviously work on the business, on the business, but even as it grows, I think a lot of business owners could get into the leadership role of like, even if you're not in the trenches with them, like if you're the boss, like, and we get busy, throw it on the schedule. Like, we're gonna go show up to the jobs today. Even if you just show up, bring them some sandwiches, bring them some food, some drinks, and like, go give them a pat on the back, like that makes guys happy. We're more in that era now where guys, I feel like back in the day, didn't really want the pat on the back. Maybe they did. It was just a different generation. But now it's like they want that pat on the back, So showing up and being there for your team, like a lot of them understand you're not going to get in the trenches anymore. You're an owner. You've been doing this for so many years. And this is not like for us, but this is for the owners that have been doing this for 10 years. Remember where you came from, right? And it's just doing those little things, showing up to those jobs. And giving them that pat on the back, man, that'll make their day. Man, my boss said thank you today. He showed up and brought us some drinks. He didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, we buy our own drinks. Like, those little things will build morale. Like we saw it before when we used to do it. Like the little odds, the morning huddles we did, like just stretching the team. Hey, everyone in a circle. We doing weird stretches. We doing push-ups. Like, just to get the body flowing, cracking jokes. Like, it builds morale. People start connecting with that. So I think it's a good thing. Long-term business owners have to remember.
And even outside of the business aspect, it's understanding who works for you. Right?
Yeah.
Understanding their wants and needs, what their family's wants and needs are, and making that a goal for the company to help them get there is huge. And then outside of that, we have morale building. Like, we take the guys to big shots. We'll take them to dinner. We'll take them golfing. But we understand what they like and what they're into, and then that's where we put our efforts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I mean, team morale is everything, right? Where we put our efforts into it is everything. Sorry, my mind went blank today.
That's weird.
Yeah, not usually, but today's that day. Not enough coffee, but yeah, no, hey, that was time. My wife spilled my coffee, and it just messed with my day all day today. And I'm still thinking about that water main call. I'm like, as we're sitting here being the business, like, there's that water main out there. I'm just like, like, that sounds like a big issue. I hope it's okay. You just constantly think about work. But I think that plays a role of like that leadership, boss, whatever you want to call it, role, where it's like, no matter what you're doing, you're always stressing about what's going on out there, right? And
it's 24/7.
Yeah, it's like, there's a call running out there right now, and I'm just like, I have to take a look at my phone, see what he's up against. Like, did he put it in the price book yet to see? So I know what he's up against. But it's just that, like, be the one that's involved in checking your day-to-day schedule with the team out there, making sure they're good, and just making sure they're doing everything right, But anyways, that being said, what do you do to keep customers? Like, what do you think is the biggest way to get
get them to call back.
Repetitive customers. Sorry, that's what I'm
It's
looking for.
the same way we handle our employees, which is understanding their wants and needs and goals, and then doing a little bit extra to show them that they're seen and cared for. But that's a huge reason we started this business, was because we worked in that world where it was just about the numbers and on to the next one. And there's guys out there that run their business off the motto of, I'm going to charge them enough so they don't have to call back. Right.
Yeah.
Like I don't care because
I slaughtered the cow.
I just moved to the next one. Right. Yeah. Whereas to me, I'd rather someone call us for the rest of life, whether we sell the business or it gets passed down. I'd rather them still have that same treatment forever. So I think it's just, and it's hard to adjust to because people are so different, right? They have so many different personalities and so many different wants and needs, but it's just individualizing it. And I think like the first step of that is who we hire to take care of that, right?
Yeah.
Like our guys are so keen on our customers, their needs, their wants, making sure they take the extra mile. Dan does it all the time. He'll just do stuff for people just so that
they're happy.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Which it's not a bad thing. And I know people are going to disagree with this. Why would you do work you don't charge for? Well, because that customer is going to call us back when they have an issue or a bigger issue. They're going to tell their neighbor about it. They're going to tell their neighbor about it. And here in St. George, it's such a small town that if we don't do that, then it's quickly going to come out that, hey, maybe try someone else and see if your experience is better.
Yeah,
and we're not perfect, but I mean, we've had more repeat business in the last year than I would say we ever saw at our previous business.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's crazy? I know this is like a boom, we're shooting off. But you know how it just popped up in my head? See, I'll go blank, but then there's just some random stuff pop up into my head. It's crazy how this brain works.
It's like a pinball machine up there.
Yeah. But you know, at the end of like every episode, we're always like, hey, if you want free advice, give us a call.
Oh, yeah, bro. I love this story.
It was your story
Walmart.
It's your story to tell.
Oh, man, this was so cool. I was at Walmart with Wyatt. We were just picking up some stuff for the house, and I get a call, and I forget his name. I think his name was Josh or something. He's like, hey, man, I watch your guys' podcast. Like, I see what you guys do and what you're talking about, but you said on it, if we need help or have questions, you could call. And I like held the phone to the side. I'm doing a little dance in the corner. I'm like, yeah, someone finally took us up on this.
Someone's watching the podcast.
Yes.
This is sweet. Hell yeah, bro. People watch it.
What do you want? Yeah. Oh, man. And he's like, he had this weird question about HVAC that I just could not answer. But he was from Chicago, from Illinois.
But we did answer it.
We did answer it, and I called Michael, and I was like, hey, Michael, hey, we do this thing on the podcast where we tell people if they need help to call, so I need you to call this guy and answer his questions.
Yeah. But that was so cool. It's like, I'm thinking like someone in town. It's all the way in Chicago. You know what I mean? It's like, just watch you guys. I love your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a couple of questions like that. Dude, that's sweet. You know?
And the only way he would have known is if he got to the end.
Yeah.
So he had to watch it, or maybe he fast forwarded, but I'm
still,
not going with that.
To the end, you know what I mean? Like, you still had to get to the end, like, at some point. So that's freaking sweet.
It was so cool.
I'm doing my little dance.
Yeah. Blake's like, it's working. Dude, I love it because that just, like, that means it's getting out to where it needs to. Like, we're not in Chicago, but that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's brand recognition. That's people actually taking the time out to hear us out.
It makes you an authority in this space.
Yeah, 100%. People start taking our word for it, and that's freaking sweet, you know?
And we were able to solve his issue he was working through.
So wherever you are in Chicago, man, I freaking love you, dude. Like, I love you. That's awesome. Like, that pumped me up that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing my little Michael Jackson dance.
It's so funny because it's the little wins that keep us going. Like the big wins, like big jobs and stuff like that. Obviously, like cash flow is important.
Yeah.
And making sure things are taken care of. But these little wins are everything.
We didn't make a penny off that guy.
No.
You know what I mean? But that feeling is like so dope of being like, man, this guy really trusted in us, being the authority, right? Trusted in us to take our word on it. And that, like, to me, I'm like, that's a massive win for me.
And this is what service has lost, though.
Yeah.
Service entirely has lost this concept.
People would have been like, dude, you're wasting my time. I'm not even in Chicago. I'm not going to call someone in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, for us, like, man, that brings us so much joy. You know, we're like pumped about it. We're like, dude, I don't know, we'll never be in Chicago, maybe, but you know, we love that for you, you know, so it's a pretty sweet thing. Anyway, sorry, I was
not good story. Glad you brought it up.
Yeah, but that one popped in my head. I know we said we talk about it at some point, so I was super dope. I was super thrilled about that. But back to the business side of things, how do you deal with even this one we talked about today. How do you deal with, like, I guess, navigate the negative reviews, even though we don't have many, which is like today we had a stupid one, right? I think for the most part we have 5-star on Google, right? But
I don't think we have anything. Maybe a 4-star from that one maid that didn't even call us.
But like, how do you think, Rick, right? Because I know how I deal with it. How do you deal with the complaints or the negative reviews or whatever? How do you manage that?
I'll start off by saying you're not going to be able to fix everybody's complaints, but we will go to any length possible to, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the first thing is, one, understanding what they're upset about, because everyone's going to be upset for different reasons. And so if you come into that conversation and you're just like, okay, we'll do this, this, and this, and you don't hear out the customer, then you're never going to solve what they're actually upset about. So I think it goes back to, again, the service side, where it's understand their complaints, wants, and needs, and then fulfill it. I mean, we did it with a customer out in Hurricane. He left a couple silly 1-star reviews around, but immediately we called him. We listened to his complaints, right?
Yeah.
Found out what he wanted, what he needed, and then immediately went and fixed it. And now he's a great customer. I think he even gave you ammunition or something.
Yeah, it doesn't work, but
Yeah.
Anyways,
He still gave it. I mean,
no, but
it's your gun
it's
because
my
it
gun.
works.
It didn't work for my gun. It worked for your gun. But no, and that time we were still very new, and it was the communication side of things we were looking at. Our thing set from 1 to 2 or whatever, our window, and we didn't show up till like 5, and he canceled. He's like, "You guys never even called me. All he wanted was communication." You know, so he wasn't asking for much, which I understood, and I agreed with him 110% because I was frustrated about it. I was like, why didn't we communicate? But we were so new. Obviously, we were learning our new systems and stuff.
A failure that we learned from.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's all it was. Like, you have to fail in certain areas to know how to get better. I actually went to this taco truck. I know, I'm Mexican. I love Mexican food. But I went to this taco truck over by my house. You know, over there in front of a Dollar Tree, there's that little orange cart by my house. Well, he just started up his business again, and I went and chatted with him. I got some food and was chatting with him, but he was very open to that. He was very like, let me know if it doesn't taste good. And he's like, because like, let me know what I could fix. He was open. That was his first question. I was like, oh, because I was asking, how long you been here? Like, I've never seen you, So when did you open up a business? But he just started back up because he closed for COVID. He's trying to send it again, and he's still chasing his dream. But he's like, let me know what I need to change. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not good, I want the feedback. So he's open to taking all the feedback. He's humbled, and he's like, I just want to be the best spot in town. So criticize me. Don't give me some BS story that, oh, it was good, man. He's like, if it's horrible, tell me it's horrible so I could change it. And I'm all for that.
Yeah, if you can't take criticism, you're never going to survive as a business owner.
No, not at all. And
but back to the review game really quick, because I want to touch on this because it's such a wild.
Oh, you're the Yelp one, huh?
It's such a wild space, and it's good and bad with technology, right? One, it puts your name out there. If you do good work, people are going to, and not everybody leaves reviews, but the ones that do genuinely want to, I mean, they took the time to. But then you have the other side of it where there's like I don't know if you guys saw in word of mouth yesterday, there was like a car accident in front of Donutsville.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
And the lady had posted that the owner was like just yelling and a terrible person. But it was cool because it was definitely a he said, she said situation. And that bad review turned into the community showing up for Donutsville.
And buying it out, right? So I think there's, like we say, not all bad publicity is bad, right? Yeah.
But
bad publicity
sometimes
is good publicity.
Sometimes there's stupid ones. Like we had a Yelp one, and I won't say her name. We'll just call her Karen.
Nah.
Just you
freaking
for the sake of it. But she posts a 1-star on her Yelp, and her complaint was, she says, "You're a business down in St. George. Why do I keep seeing ads in Salt Lake?" And I'm like, why is that one? Why is that a review? You haven't even dealt with our service, but like, hey, too, lady, we have a place in St. George and we have a place in American Fork. It's not that you're just seeing them randomly from St. George. But I went into it and I told her, I said, look, when you leave reviews like this, you're not just hurting a business, like you're hurting a locally owned business. And Forget the business side of it. You're hurting other families that are a part of that business who you didn't even give an opportunity for. You're just upset.
You're crying over an ad. I just want to know if she calls DirecTV and be like, I can't stand these 3-minute ads in between my shows. Can you take these off?
Probably.
Because that's what it comes down to, right? You're complaining about quote unquote commercials at that point, like their ads. So it's like they're going to pop up. Why are you on Yelp so much then? You know what I mean? You're going to keep seeing it if you're on Yelp. Like, that's part of the marketing that we do. It's on Yelp. But it's not messages. It's just like you're scrolling and it's like Dino Service Pros.
I just wish that these review sites gave the business owners more of an opportunity other than responding to get it fixed, because that 1-star review could kill someone from calling again, right?
And I just hope someone reads it to be like, oh, they're crying about a dang ad. Like, do you get over yourself.
Right, you didn't even use them. You didn't even give them an opportunity.
But marketing everything, because there's also a post where this guy in word of mouth, I think he owns an electrical business here, where it's dude, like little things here could set you off in this small of a town. And it sucks because like, you don't know where someone's going through, you know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't right either which way, but it was on word of mouth. He's driving down the road and he flips this guy off, and he's in his truck and his license plate states the business name. Well, now that's all over Facebook and on social media. Now this guy's getting drilled and wife's tagged in it and all this stuff. But it's like that one decision just like could end your business or give you such a bad reputation. And who knows what he was going through that day, but it ended up being road rage. And that person took a picture, blew it up on social media, and overnight, like that went bad for him, And it sucks because it's like, there's so many ways to handle situations.
Yeah, I love this topic because there's the devil's advocate side of it, where it's like, when did we as a society stop confronting the people with our problems?
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to continually post it online? Is it a self-worth thing? Like, hey, I was better in this situation, so I'm going to show the community I was better in this situation.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't know either side, but what I do know is that if I have a problem with someone, whoever it is, that person's going to hear directly from me before the world hears about it.
Yeah.
And we've completely lost that path in our world today. Yeah. And I think if we just went back to, hey man, I saw you were like, and this could have been this simple, right? He saw the business name. He could have called and said, hey, who's driving this truck? I would like to have a conversation with them. We had a confrontation today.
Yeah.
But no, everybody's first reaction is to just go and bash. Like, same thing with the Donutsville, right? Yeah. Instead of like going and speaking to her and having a conversation with the Donutsville owner and resolving it. No, let's just throw it on word of mouth. Let's try to ruin them because I have that power with social media. It's crazy to me.
Dude, it's nuts because it's as simple as that. Like, I think in this incident, it was the owner, which was was bad. But like, there was the other one where the dude brandished a firearm in a company truck. Yeah, should that guy probably be fired? 100%. Like, that's bad for your company, but don't drag the company based off of one employee. I mean, yeah,
every company has bad employees.
Yeah, that they are, right? They're an extension of it, but call the company, talk to the owner, and figure it out before bashing him, because maybe the owner is a solid dude and he's like, I didn't know my guy was like that. Like, You don't know everyone's skeletons, right? So it's like, I didn't know he was like that, but I'll get rid of him today. I'll apologize. Let me see what we could do for you.
How can we make it better?
Yeah, instead of being like, because that wasn't the owner's fault. He wasn't the one driving, but it's just that like those bad reviews could destroy a company if you're not giving them an opportunity to fix it. That's the biggest thing I see on reviews, because if they don't fix it, leave a bad review.
Yeah, that's on them.
Yeah, like, hey, if you called us and you're like, hey, I was unhappy with this, in reality, it's like 2-star service. Okay, well, what can we do to make that experience better? Can we come back? Can we fix it? And if we do nothing with it, or if we're just like, oh, 2-star, we'll go fly a kite. I don't care. Leave me a bad review. I deserve it. You know what I mean? But at least give, like you say, confront these people. Give them the ability. Because I'm always like that. Like, well, you didn't tell me that when I asked you. Like, if you would have told me, I would have fixed it. Like, let's talk about it. We hit a TDS line that was 2 inches in the dirt, which is insane for one, because it's not like that. But we broke it, and we ended up fronting the bill. We're like, hey, we'll pay for it. Like, it should have been deeper, right? Because that's a first for us. Those lines are a lot deeper. But you know what I mean? We'll pay for it. Because whatever, it was on our hands. We'll take care of it. But it's that extra mile, could we have fought it and been like, well, it wasn't to depth, so TDS has to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like, they should have put it as deep as it's supposed to go. But being a bigger company, we just want people to be happy and do our job. So we'll pay for the damages done. But give us the ability to do so, right?
Right.
So I think that's what it comes down to.
Give the opportunity.
But with kind of, I know we're kind of wrapping this up, but with how do you think we scale our business in the years to come, right? What's our growth plan? We've kind of talked about it in like the first episode, I believe, or whatever. But now that we're getting farther into this, some time apart, and now we're with the Certain Path group, and our eyes have opened up a little bit more to how business operates. What do you think our growth plan is for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, that's changed a lot since when we first started, but it's now again based on the numbers, policies, procedures, making sure the business is in the right place to scale it.
Right.
But I don't think it changes our plan from like a new location each year. This path we're on, this Certain Path, as you say, is going to...
They need to pay me for that.
Yeah, they should. It's going to give us the ability to, right?
Yeah.
And be able to make the decision on, okay, when do we do it? Where do we do it? And then we execute from there. Because the how's already being worked on, but the when and where is going to be the biggest key. For us, just with our coach said we should eye between 25% and 50% growth. That growth comes in how hard do we want to work to get there and how fast do we want to work to get there. We could go home at 5, shut it down, come back the next day. We're not going to reach our goals for several years.
Yeah.
But as you know, like you were saying, I text you at 10 o'clock at night. It's because I want to hit those goals as quickly as we possibly can. So, I mean, I still see our growth hitting that new location, new year as we continue. And then like in my mind, it's like 9 states right now, 9 states, 9 years. And then we'll see. But who knows? I mean, maybe we'll get to 5 and we'll be happy.
Yeah. You never know. So if you had like one piece of advice, right, to this whole being like what we're doing and how things kind of should work, what do you think, to kind of end it off on, what do you think the best like marketing strategy we've learned for like a company starting? What do you think maybe a brand new company should put their money into? Like, cause like we're still learning it. Yeah. But like, we learned a lot in a year of what to do and what not to do. What do you think some other people like just starting out, if they only had $10,000 to work with to get their name known, what do you think would be the best marketing strategy for them?
I mean, man, if they had that kind of money,
right,
they could kind of run the package. They could go the website route, SEO, making sure everything aligns with Google's algorithm. I think depending on your business, a Google My Business profile is the most important thing, especially in the trades. We'll just stick to the trades, right? Mm-hmm. Google My Business profile is everything. Social media is everything, because as we continue to grow as a world and society, that's becoming more important. So if you're not a part of what's important, then you're missing out on a piece or a customer that you potentially could get. And it does take putting yourself out there. And you had a little bit of a hard time with this in the beginning when I'd always want to like record you or get stuff done. But it's really, if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to get it back. So if you just try to play behind the blinds and you're like, okay, this will work out, it's not going to work out.
Dude, it's like this. You got me on a freaking podcast. So, I was like, hey, we should do a podcast. I'm like, dude, cameras? You're like, yeah. I'm like, microphones?
Now look at you're the character of the show.
Oh, man. Well, it's just gotten easy. Like once you like, that's the hardest thing is everyone's so afraid, and including me, like it's such a hard thing to open up to if you're not like, I may talk a lot and like, I might be, I wouldn't say an attention whore, but like I don't really enjoy being the center of attention. Like I hated in school going up and presenting with all eyes on me. In a group setting, like we could BS and have a good time and like won't shut up. But like in that kind of role, it's so hard to get used to, right? It's like that anxiety, you could call it, or anxiousness of being like, all eyes are on me. If I mess up, the world's going to know. And that's obviously what this does.
Who cares?
And that's what it is. Like
we get hate all the time for videos or things we post. But you know what? The people that are hating on us are the ones sitting at home, wish they were doing it, and we're the ones doing it.
Oh, my mama. Hey, it was like that dude on social media. We posted that video of me cutting the drywall, and what the video doesn't show is that as I'm cutting that piece of drywall, water is running down my arm into my shirt, down my armpit, and it's cold, and I'm like, ooh, making all these faces, and the guy writes green. Obviously, green hard hat, it's a rookie.
New guy, doesn't know what he's doing.
Then, that BS. And so,
what did I respond with?
I think you put orange, and I put red, or I put purple, and then you put red. It's like, hey, bro, you want to play? Let's play. Like, I'm here for it. Like, I always say I'm gonna make a troll account just so I could troll people all day. Cause I'm hey man, whatever you guys say, don't hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? Like, I laugh about it. So, but it's like, well, hey, you know what? Leave your comments, because even if it's hate, like, you gave me one more view, you commented, you put my
you
thing.
spent your time, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks for watching my video, bro. And then putting my content out there. The more you comment, the more people see it, the more it circulates. Bro, leave all your hate. I'm here for it. Hey, say I look 18 or say I look 16,
Oh, yeah.
Say
19.
I can't grow a beard, bro. I'm here for it. Let me have it, But it's just one of those things. As long as it helps me, I'm here for it, baby.
And that's the thing. Everybody's gonna see something and find something negative to say about it. There's just those people, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But again, it comes back to, you're probably working for someone else wishing you were doing this, and this is your way of putting out your anger towards us.
Keyboard warrior.
Yep.
See me in the streets, homie.
We'll shake your hand.
Yeah. What's up, green?
Yeah.
What's up, purple?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so stupid. But anyways, I mean, it is, like I said, bad publicity is good publicity. So if you want to hate, I'm not a fan of pushing out hate, but you know what I mean? Like, hey, do you, But other than that,
again, if you have questions, give us a call.
yeah, hey, if you want to hate, call me. Let's talk about it. We can talk over the phone. But anyways, you got anything else? Are you pretty good?
I'm always pretty good. But I would just say to anyone that's starting a business, change who's around you. Don't be so conservative that it hurts you or stops you from doing anything. And you're gonna fail. There's a lot you're gonna fail at, but keep going. It's like anything else in life. Like I'm 37. I've had 37 years of failure to get to this point. I'm going to have another 20 years of failure. Whatever it looks like, that's up to you. But just keep going. Ask questions. Talk to everybody. Put yourself out there. You'll be a lot further ahead than other people.
Yeah. Nope, I agree.
Cool.
And it's off.
You can find us on social media at Dino Service Pros, or you can find our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and the podcasting. Does it have a name? It's just called podcasting.
What is that, Blake? That purple thing? Is it just a podcast? I always see it posted.
I don't know what to call it. It's on Apple.
Purple thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got you on every platform.
Every platform.
Yeah.
Dino Service Bros on every platform. You could also find us on our website, www.dinoservicepros.com, or our preference, give us a call, 435-236-4568.
You can also find me on OnlyFans as Big Daddy the Plumber. Just kidding.
No, he's not. Got people looking.
Hey, well, we can't find it.
Man, we should make that account.
It's nothing you want to see, I promise. All right. Love you. Bye.